I don't know who needs to hear this, but academic writing is not just fancy words and referencing. I think it is very important to understand academic writing is a clear, concise academic writing style. It's a clear and concise way of getting across information, whether it's discussing a piece of literature or presenting research findings. So there is a way to improve your academic writing style without feeling like you have to add in all those fanciful words and decipher the Rosetta Stone of research. So I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on how you can improve your academic writing. Now, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to avoid unnecessary jargon, and you're going to avoid overcomplicating the sentences. You need to keep your sentences clear and concise, and avoid lengthy, unnecessarily waffling sentences that are just going to confuse the reader. You need to make a point, and the easiest way to make a point, if you think it can be made in 5 words, make it in 5 words. There's no need to have a 15-word sentence that says absolutely nothing. You need to keep your ideas clear and concise. Get to the point. One of my friend's supervisors, when she was doing her dissertation, absolutely detested linking words. Things like additionally, therefore, furthermore, thereafter, all those words he just was completely opposed to. And the reason for this is he was saying, just simply state your point. Are you discussing literature? Fine. Present the literature. Say what the literature says. Don't add in anything extra if there's no need to do so. When it comes to you then synthesizing information, you're still going to be presenting the information, you're still going to be presenting the literature and discussing the literature, but make sure that when you are presenting that information, it's presented in a way that's clear and understandable. A way that you can test this is by getting someone to read your text. Give them a paragraph, for example. Get someone to read it who's not on your course, who has no desire to understand what you are talking about. Get someone to proofread it, and if they can understand it, then it's good enough to be presented as part of your assignment. Now, obviously you're going to use some technical terms depending on the course that you're doing, but it's best to keep things free from jargon so that the layperson can understand it. What you're also going to do is you're going to use formal language. You're going to use formal language and tone. You're not going to be using casual phrases and casual tones, and you're going to avoid contractions. So instead of saying don't, that's not academic, you're going to be saying do not, was not. You're going to write the word, you're not going to be writing like you'd be writing a blog post. That is the difference between academic writing and non-academic writing. It's the presentation of how you formulate those sentences. So if you want to make sure that it is devoid of things that can be seen as quite informal language, you can again ask someone to proofread it and say, does this sound a bit too informal? Where can I make the changes? In line with that, you're going to stay objective and neutral. I made a video a little while ago talking about the pain scale being very subjective because it's based on the opinion of the person that you ask. What pain level are you at? Are you at a 7 or are you at a 10? My 10 is going to be different from someone else, so you have to back that up with literature. That's the difference between subjective and objective writing. You need to make sure that what you are presenting is fact and you are staying neutral to the fact. This is a big thing when it comes to critiquing. When you are presenting an argument, you have to present, or you should be presenting, a few different perspectives on the argument that's being presented. Your neutrality is saying, I believe that AI should be used in education as a support mechanism, but what does the other literature say? What do other people feel is the role of AI in education? And being objective means that though I have an opinion on the use of AI, I am still going to present things that dispute the fact that AI should be used in education, because some people are completely against it, some people are for it, and some people are somewhere in the middle. But being objective means that you will hear each different element of an argument, you'll see the different perspectives, and you will present them accordingly. Using personal pronouns like I and we is not necessarily accepted in academic writing unless you are writing a reflective paper. But even then, some marking rubrics and some marking guidance will say we don't expect you to write in the first person, you have to write in the third person. So you will be using more of a passive voice as opposed to an active voice. You're not going to be speaking about it from your perspective. So instead of using terms like I felt, you're going to say the study showed, the investigations showed. You're not going to speak about it through your lens, you're going to be speaking about it from the outside looking in. So if you are discussing something that's reflective and you're speaking about communication, you can say that instead of saying I found that my communication style was more of a dance style, you can say on observation the communication presented more of a dance style as opposed to an arrow style. You're taking yourself out of the picture and you're speaking about it as if you was looking in from the outside in the third person. What you're doing is you're focusing on presenting evidence and analysis over presenting your opinions and your thoughts and feelings. You're more objective, you're more neutral to the information that you're presenting. You're also going to vary your sentence structure. So what this means is you're going to alternate between shorter sentences and longer sentences. I know in the beginning I said don't overcomplicate sentences, and if you can say it in 5 words, which is true, but there are going to be times where you're going to need to give more of an explanation in one sentence. And what this will do is make your writing more engaging, and it will prioritize clarity over complexity. So you're going to be giving clear and concise information in the shorter sentences, but then when you want to expand a bit more, when you are paraphrasing bits of literature, if you may be direct quoting from sources that you found, those sentences may be a little bit longer, but make sure that you keep the clarity and coherence of those sentences to make sure that your overall paragraph makes sense. And it's never the final thing, because your first version of any assignment is always going to be a draft. But what you are going to do is edit ruthlessly. You are going to critique your own writing. You are going to rip it to shreds, and you're going to say, this is what I've written the first time. What can I improve on? And I almost would like to say, don't be kind to yourself. In this instance, if you change it, if you think it doesn't sound right, get someone else to review it on your behalf and ask them, listen, I need some honest feedback, I need some constructive criticisms, and get them to review the work for you. Again, it doesn't have to be someone that's doing the same courses. It could be someone that's doing a different course, doing a different module, but you as peers can review each other's work. Review your drafts several times. Don't just review it once. Give yourself a good few weeks or days before submission to keep on reviewing your drafts, and remove redundant words, remove things that aren't really necessary. If there's loads of ands and thes in there and they don't necessarily need to be there, take them out. Make sure it's grammatically consistent, because I know for some of the work that I've marked previously that were with different institutions, the basis of your punctuation, your spelling and your grammar is the difference between 60% and 50%. So you want to make sure that things are grammatically consistent. You can use tools like Grammarly with caution. I have seen a video very recently of someone who said that their work got flagged for plagiarism, and it was because they were putting their work through Grammarly. So be very, very careful when you are using the AI software to help with the proofreading of your assignments. I personally like PaperPal, which is an add-on you can have onto your Microsoft Word, or you can use it in the web. But I find PaperPal can help you down the side. It will show you what needs to be edited out, and you yourself will go in directly and edit that. You don't have to just click a button. You don't have to just click a button to edit it. It will give you suggestions down the side. So I like PaperPal for that. PaperPal can also be used to support with referencing. It can help you with paraphrasing. So if you do have a paragraph or a sentence that you think is a bit lengthy, you can highlight that paragraph and you can ask it to reword it, trim it, paraphrase it. Because it's your work, you have written the work yourself, it is fine to use it for those purposes. And you can ask it to trim, if it's 100 words, highlight the 100 words and trim it, and it will tell you by how much words it's reduced it by. So I personally like PaperPal. I've never really used Grammarly, I never really liked Grammarly, but it is there to be used. Just be mindful with how you use it. So for example, if you was improving an essay on reflective practice in nursing and you was using a reflective model like Gibbs, very much so encourages the use of the first person, and where we've said to take out that element if it is not acceptable, when you are speaking about thoughts and feelings and evaluating those thoughts and feelings, you're going to have to change "I felt" to a more objective version. So instead of "I felt frustrated," you can say, "During this process, it was very frustrating because," do you know what I mean? So just changing the wording around a little bit. That was very basic, but just changing the wording around a little bit will help you go from using the first person if it's not necessarily allowed in the piece of writing that you're doing, to writing more objectively. You can also link literature, and I've done a video on this as well. You can link literature to thoughts and feelings. There are lots of pieces out there that will explain why certain situations may cause frustration, why certain communication methods are not effective, and why those thoughts and feelings might be evoked because of the lack of communication or teamwork or whatever it is that you are discussing. So feel free as well to do the research, find the citations, find the sources to help support with speaking more objectively about your feelings when you are writing a reflective essay. It is possible, and if you want me to do a more detailed video on that, I will. I also have a digital template that you can use that will help you structure your reflective assignments. So that is linked in my profile. But as usual, I always give an AI assistant, and I've mentioned it already, it will be PaperPal. PaperPal can help you to simplify and refine your writing. Once you have written your first draft, you've verbal vomited on the page, you can use it to help you with your grammar, your spelling, your punctuation, just the general proofreading, editing. But it can also help you, like I said, to trim down bits of text. It can help you to paraphrase. If you are concerned about whether it's going to flag on Turnitin, there is a Turnitin function. I will always say use this with caution, because once anything has gone through Turnitin, it is in the ether. So it may, I don't know if this is the case, but it may flag when you actually put it through your university's Turnitin. So be very mindful when you are putting things through plagiarism trackers. It's a plagiarism tracker, it's not Turnitin, but be very mindful when you are using those platforms. Another platform that I also recommend is Jenny AI, which can help you with structuring, and again, it can help you with making your work more concise, add a bit more clarity by a click of a button. So those are the two platforms I'm recommending today for AI assistants, Jenny AI and PaperPal. And if you have any that you like to use, let me know in the comments and I'll have a look and we can talk about them in another video.